The dancing plague of 1518, when a city danced to death. Imagine dancing until you collapse, unable to stop, your body moving uncontrollably until exhaustion takes over. Now imagine hundreds of people around you doing the same, some even dying from sheer fatigue. It sounds like something out of a horror movie or a supernatural tale, but this was a real historical event. In July 1518, the streets of Strasbourg, France, became the stage for one of the strangest and most chilling mass outbreaks in human history. It all began with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who inexplicably started dancing in the streets. As days passed, more people joined her, and within a month, the number swelled to around 400. No one could stop. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Others reportedly died from strokes or heart failure. What caused this eerie, unstoppable dancing? Was it mass hysteria, poisoning, religious fervor, or something even more mysterious? More than 500 years later, historians and scientists are still searching for answers. The mysterious beginning. A woman who couldn't stop dancing. It all started with a seemingly ordinary moment. In July 1518, a woman named Frau Trophia stepped out into the streets of Strasbourg and began to dance. But this was no joyful celebration or festival performance. Her movements were erratic and involuntary. She showed no signs of stopping, moving for hours without rest. Passers-by watched in shock, unable to make sense of what they were seeing. Was she cursed? Was she possessed? No one knew. Even her family members and neighbors begged her to stop, but she couldn't, or wouldn't. After hours of continuous movement, one would expect exhaustion to take over, but instead, she kept dancing into the night. The next day, she continued. Days turned into nearly a week, and she was still dancing. Then, something even stranger happened. Others began to join her. Within a few days, dozens of people were affected, and soon, the number grew to hundreds. By the end of the month, nearly 400 men, women, and children were spinning, twirling, and leaping uncontrollably in the streets. Their feet bled, their bodies convulsed, but they could not stop. The city was gripped with panic. This wasn't a festival. It wasn't a religious ritual. It was a living nightmare. The city's desperate response. At first, local authorities and city leaders were baffled. What could cause such bizarre behavior? Medical professionals of the time, who were influenced by medieval beliefs, speculated that the dancers were suffering from hot blood, an excessive heat in the body that needed to be expelled. Instead of restraining the dancers, they took an unusual approach. They encouraged even more dancing. A shocking decision was made. Musicians were hired, stages were built, and dancing halls were set up to let the afflicted dance the sickness away. Authorities believed that if the dancers kept moving, the compulsion would eventually leave their bodies. This strategy backfired terrifyingly. Instead of curing the afflicted, the music seemed to fuel their mania. More and more people joined, the frenzy intensifying. Some dancers screamed in agony, others collapsed from sheer exhaustion, only to get up and start again. Some died where they stood, their bodies giving out before their minds could. For weeks, the city of Strasbourg was consumed by chaos. Theories behind the madness. Even today, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most bizarre and unexplained mysteries. Scholars and scientists have proposed several theories to explain what happened, but no single explanation fully accounts for the events that took place. 1. Mass hysteria. The power of the mind. One of the most widely accepted explanations is that the dancing plague was a case of mass hysteria, also known as mass psychogenic illness. This occurs when a group of people experience the same physical symptoms due to extreme stress, fear, or social influence, rather than an actual disease or toxin. The people of Strasbourg in 1518 were under immense pressure. The region had been hit by famine, disease, and widespread poverty. Many lived in constant fear of divine punishment, believing that God or the saints could smite them for their sins. Psychologists suggest that the intense stress and anxiety of daily life may have triggered a collective psychological breakdown. Once one person started dancing, others subconsciously followed, their minds overwhelmed by fear, desperation, or belief in supernatural forces. 2. Ergot poisoning, a deadly hallucinogen in bread? Another popular theory points to ergot poisoning, caused by a toxic mold that grows on damp rye and other grains. Ergot contains chemicals similar to LSD, the powerful hallucinogenic drug, and can cause seizures, convulsions, hallucinations, and a burning sensation in the limbs, a condition known as St. Anthony's fire. Some researchers believe that those affected by the dancing plague unknowingly consumed bread contaminated with ergot, which could explain their strange movements and inability to stop. However, ergot poisoning typically leads to convulsions, gangrene, and extreme pain rather than rhythmic, coordinated dancing, making this theory questionable. 3. Religious and supernatural explanations. In medieval Europe, many people believed in divine punishment and supernatural curses. Some believed that the dancing plague was caused by Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers and epileptics. According to legend, those who offended Saint Vitus could be cursed to dance uncontrollably. In an attempt to end the plague, city officials eventually sent the afflicted to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus. There, they performed religious rituals and prayers, and soon after, the outbreak mysteriously stopped. Could the power of belief alone have caused the madness to spread and then vanish? 4. A social and cultural phenomenon. Some historians argue that the dancing plague was not a disease or curse, but a social phenomenon fueled by cultural beliefs and extreme stress. The Middle Ages were a time of superstition, and collective fear could have easily influenced behavior. The idea is that once a few people started dancing, others, believing it was an actual plague, succumbed to the same affliction. The mind, under stress, can produce powerful and sometimes terrifying physical reactions. The end of the dancing plague. By late September 1518, the dancing gradually faded away. The afflicted either collapsed, died, or mysteriously recovered. The streets of Strasbourg returned to normal, but the memory of the dancing plague haunted the city for years. No one knows exactly why the outbreak stopped. Did the victims simply exhaust themselves? Did the pilgrimage to St. Vitus' shrine break the spell? Or did the mass hysteria run its course, losing its psychological grip on the people? The event was so bizarre and disturbing that it was recorded in official documents, yet it remains one of history's greatest mysteries. A lesson from the past. The dancing plague of 1518 is a chilling reminder of how the mind and body can react to extreme stress in ways we still don't fully understand. It also highlights the power of belief, mass influence, and the strange ways in which human psychology can manifest under the right conditions. Could something like this happen again? In modern times, cases of mass hysteria still occur, though rarely as dramatic as the dancing plague. But history has shown that under the right mix of stress, belief, and fear, the human brain can create terrifyingly real experiences. Would you have been able to resist the dance in 1518? Or would you have been caught in the rhythm, unable to stop? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a comment with your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next one.